colors creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desire set my heart afire.
Men, women, necromancers, and embers, welcome to Burning Questions, where the dead won't rest till the answers are served. Tonight, on the first episode of the first night of Spooktober, we have quite the guest that many have recommended for a long time. So, please welcome the guest on Burning Questions for tonight, the great Necro Siri.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Well, Siri, would you mind telling the audience about yourself and your history?
Oh, yeah, I do love regaling people with tales about me. Yours truly. My name is Skelly Celine Siri. I'm a necromancer and guild matron of the Skelly Club. Um, I was an adventurer. I'm retired now. No arrows to the knee. Too strong for my Amazonian body. Yeah, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that being an Amazonian, you're just built different.
Yeah, we just built big and different and strong and hard. Very hard in some places. Yeah.
Does that affect like finding a mate? I'm assuming it does to an extent, at least.
Well, you have to find someone who could endure the process. Yeah. Yeah, humans tend to be pretty delicate. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, I've found that some humans are a bit too squishy. But to be fair, that is something that I like.
Oh no, squish. Yes, I do love the thickness. I think, there's something just comforting about plowing someone with a bit of cushioning for the cushioning. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone could get it. Thick girls, thick boys, centaurs. Yeah, I don't discriminate. No.
A thick centaur. I have not seen that, I reckon. That sounds interesting.
They're a very elusive species, I would say. You don't really see very many of them. Like, you don't really see unicorn. Listen, let me tell you something. Unicorns are assholes.
Yes.
And everyone's like, oh, unicorns, lovely, majestic. They will murder you with their horns. Okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're evil. Just so you know. You don't want to try to ride one. I would not recommend it.
I actually do recall a story about how somebody how do you say this? Somebody tried to like seduce a unicorn and they got stabbed, but not with the thing that they were hoping for.
Well, there's also that, because you could imagine that the populace has been, well, you see, in the realm of magic, certain body parts belonging to mystical creatures are very valuable, and one of them being unicorn horns.
Oh yeah,
as you
definitely.
could imagine. Well, with this being the case, you will notice that their population is very slim, so I would imagine that the mating process is difficult for them. So it's one of those like, hey, every hole is a goal.
I can see that, but to be fair though, they can also create their own holes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, every hole, if yeah.
If there isn't a hole, I'll make a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to avoid them. Centaurs, they're more pleasant, and I'm pretty sure that they spawn from that union. I would imagine.
That
Have you
actually
ever
makes
seen a
sense.
Clydesdale? Yeah, they're big. I wouldn't necessarily mess around with one, but they make pleasant company on the journeys. Yeah, they're good conversationalists. Hmm, I would say so.
This is, I'm just like trying to imagine like, okay, let's be honest. The human internet is vast. And with its vastness, there are some weird stuff out there. Like really freaky shit.
Yeah, I learned. My chat taught me about grabbing life by the balls. That's customary amongst humans. So you
Sure.
must grab the balls. And there's another one they taught me calling what was the phrase? I think it was grab the dick and twist it.
What?
That is a weird custom. I'm really like trying to learn about these things. They confuse me. Some of them say yes, some of them say no. Then some of them were moaning. It was really weird.
That is you have one really active chat.
Yeah, no, they're they're very interesting. Yeah, they teach me a lot. You know, an old necromancer can learn new tricks, I suppose.
That is true. That is true. But speaking of this old necromancer, we should get started with the first burning question. And that is, of course, would you kindly tell us about your life when you were younger? Seeing as how you're an Amazonian, what was your life growing up? I noticed that many Amazonians live in what's a hostile environment. So what was your particular childhood like?
I was afforded a life of luxury. I hail from a small kingdom that grew up quite quickly called Vatrauen, and it is known for its adventurer colleges. Pretty much anyone who is a adventurer of renown attends one of the colleges on this continent. I had the good fortune of coming from better means, I would say. My father, he, from what I know, is half elf. That's where I attribute my ears from. And he comes from a line of necromancers. As for my mother, she is the Amazonian one. She was on her pilgrimage when she met my father and joined his band of adventurers, and they fell in love. It was, I really find that to be a weird pairing.
Oh,
A big Amazonian woman, smaller, half elven guy. I mean, they made it work, and he endured the process of mating. Because I'm here. But I never got to meet my mother, unfortunately. She actually passed shortly after birthing me. I would say that's something that my father held very personal to me. He was a very stoic person, my dad. He was the present and arch wizard of the continent, so he kind of had the job of taking care of the magical colleges as like a dean of sorts and also protector. I was mostly raised by, well, because of my breeding, and I am technically a lady. That's why I'm of House Siri. I spent most of my time under the tutelage of, like, a lady in waiting, if that makes sense. And then I went to the colleges. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I had very much of a connection with my parents. It was mostly other people raising me, which, I can say that it was all right. It was all right. I turned out well. I'm not frazzled. I don't have like daddy issues. I'm not motherless.
Don't worry about it. I can see where you're coming from, but just so your family is growing up, I mean, was basically just you and I'm assuming what was the term you said earlier? I'm assuming they're like the handmaidens, lady in waiting. That's
Yeah.
it.
Ladies in waiting and servants, they had a great deal in raising me. So the island I grew up on is Sirio. It was given to my great 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 grandfather. Sirius Siri. You'll notice there's a like a pattern with the names. Don't ask. Don't ask. Apparently there's another Siri, and she's she lives in an apple. Yeah, that's what Chad told
Okay.
me. She lives in an apple, but not to be confused with me, with my house name. But yeah, no, I would say that I was raised by them mostly, which was nice. And the island is mostly populated by beast folk. Yeah, lots of beast folk of like, were badgers and were birds and of that sort. So they tend to be, well, depending on like I guess which one is raising you. I was raised by a very large bear lady. She was very sweet
Ah.
and very very, she could handle me. I was bigger, as you could imagine, than most kids. I'm 6'9". I'm a tall woman. I'm a tall drink of woman. And yeah, I'm naturally very strong. So, and imagine that. I'm short for an Amazon. I'm considered short. Me.
I was gonna bring up like how were you raised as a child, considering I'm just gonna assume that you weren't raised around other Amazonians then, right?
Yeah, I think I saw my first Amazonian when I was adventuring. Actually, I um I don't think I can. I don't know if I can share that story.
I mean, it's fine.
But yeah, that was, I would say, my first interaction with other Amazonians. And apparently we have a scent about us that they can smell and we can smell. I was unaware of this. Like I said, I learned a lot on that adventure. Let's say that I was educated in a lot of our ways. Yeah, very very fondly, and yeah, it was a nice experience. No, I think for me, growing up, I did have some issues. So if you are unfamiliar with magic, necromancers, and such, any caster needs a spell book. Well,
Like a grimoire.
Yes.
Okay.
My issue is that I actually can't read words. I can't make sense of it. It was an affliction that they caught early on when they tried teaching me.
Mhm.
They did notice that I could not make sense of anything that I read. And so that kind of set a very tense precedence for me because of that. And coming from such a lineage and with such high expectations, you could imagine that it was a bit disappointing being the only remaining child of House Siri, and not being able to read the words, especially from our family grimoire. But instead, I have the innate ability of being able to cast magic without using, quote unquote, the words, which apparently is very uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of this kind of thing. It's in, at least in the magic place of my world, we do have a similar system, but it is reserved for higher skilled practitioners.
Oh, you're not the first elemental I've met.
Oh, who did you meet before me?
I've met, well, dryads are the earth elementals, and I've also met a few air nymphs as well. They're a very curious breed, very mischievous, I would say, true to their nature. Yeah, the water ones like drowning people. What's up with that?
But funny enough, I actually do recall some what are they? I forget the proper term we use here, but but in human tongues they are called air elementals, and
Mm,
they're a pain in the ass when it comes to laundry.
yeah, I did notice that they have this skewed view of themselves that they feel them they're almost celestial in ways, and it just gives them a very grand standing that I just can't stand. For
Yeah.
me. Mm.
I suppose that because of human media, the particularly the last Airbender didn't help in that.
Oh yeah. That was an interesting. I was watching it on my scry. So I have a scrying mirror, and I
Mhm.
jimmy rigged it with 2 potatoes and some wiring, and I'm able to get HBO and net and the net of the flicks.
How
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
pay
I
for
watched.
those though?
Um, you have to pay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna assume that somewhere on Terra there is somebody who doesn't realize that they're actually sharing Wi-Fi with a necromancer. They're sharing their account with a necromancer.
Well, yes. Yeah. I suppose so. It's mine now. Those filthy humans. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Until that person ends up like stops paying for like whatever reason.
oh, they better not. I'll stab them. I mean, I'll give them a nice hug. No stabbing. No knives. Promise. Pinky swear. Yeah, and I'm not a violent person. I'm a very violent person. I like violence.
Fair enough. I mean, we all have violence. We're all literally surrounded by like violent media nowadays. But it's just a thing that just happens. It's just great.
Mm. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of anything else. Like I attended, the usual. I attended the college at 16, and you graduate on your 19th birthday, and you are basically set up with a group, an adventuring group. And you are given a ceremony in which you name your group, you get ceremonial daggers, and then you set out as an adventurer, like legally. You need like a badge and everything.
I've heard. I don't know why, but whenever somebody tells me that you get a ceremonial blank, it isn't just used for ceremony.
You can shank a motherfucker with it. Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm a subclass of brawler naturally because of my Amazonian strength. So I prefer to like think of a watermelon, and you stick your hands into the watermelon, you tear it open, and you just rip it in half. Yeah, I could do that to people's bodies.
So I'm assuming you can also just yeet people, huh?
Yeah, I could. You see, that's the good thing about being an Amazon, being half Amazonian, is that people will go, "Oh, necromancer," and then they don't realize that I could probably crush their skull with my hands. Yeah, it's a nice trick. It's a nice little parlor trick.
That sounds
Mhm.
badass. It
Yeah.
actually kind of reminds you of this short I saw before about how a wizard ran out of spells,
Ah.
and the orcs that were about to attack him, he just ripped off his robe and he was just jacked. That
Yeah,
sounds like the same
yeah.
concept.
And that's the look of fear in their eyes when they realize, oh,
Oh, that's a
know.
necromancer. Ah, fuck.
It's her. No, yeah, I've had that happen one time when they use the spell. It's basically dispel, and it
Mhm.
basically traps my magic. And I'm like, well, that's fine. That's
I needed some
fine.
exercise today.
Yeah, the suit it's really nice and fitting, but like I'm jacked under here. I'm ripped like a motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on to the next burning question, we actually got a redeem from the Savory Chicken about a burning questions guest fact. So would you kindly tell us about yourself, like a random fact that you don't normally like tell people?
Oh, So I do have one. So you remember I made mention of this Siri that lives in an apple. I mean, really,
Sure.
how do you get a Siri to live in an apple?
I'm
Is
assuming
it
either
was
a really large apple or a really small Siri.
Yeah, it confuses me, but apparently I can make a sound that sounds like her.
Oh?
I'm old and dusty in my throat. 1 second.
Too much
Yes.
casting.
Too much casting.
Oh, that is fucking great.
Apparently, what Siri sounds like. How may I help you today?
Uh, hey Siri, could you cast me a simple necromancy spell?
Yes. 1 second, please. All right. What you need for a necromancer spell? The skull of your enemy. Blood. Cross out the blood. Dildos. Wait, no dildos. Whose list is this?
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. That's one little factoid about me. Yeah.
Actually, we got another back-to-back, which is another
Oh.
burning questions guest fact. So would you kind of give us another one?
Well, yes, I do have one. Okay. I was cursed. So remember I made mention to meeting those Amazons?
Sure.
Well, that was maybe my third or fourth quest with my adventuring group. And it would so happen that this group of nomadic Amazons had issues finding men. And so basically they were going to pay us a good satchel of gold, and all they wanted was seed, if you catch my drift. And so there's like two
I can see where it's
guys
going.
in my group. Yeah, there's two guys in my group.
Before you continue the
And,
story, are they still alive?
Oh no, they're alive. They're alive.
Okay.
But you see, you have like 70 Amazons, two
What?
virile men.
70
And
as in
so-
70, right?
Yeah, 70. Yeah. Get this. They have a ritual in which you can drink a tonic of sorts, and it helps females to well, this is what they said. They said, air quotations, you drink this, it will help you grow an appendage and you can help us breed. Okay, and it will go away in the morning. Well, let me tell you something. It didn't go away in the morning. Every fucking full moon, this thing grows and I turn into a werefuda. This is bullshit. This is not what I signed up for. This is absolute bullshit.
So I'm assuming this potion has lasted more than 8 hours. Did they call their local physician?
Yeah, I was sore afterward. So apparently I just have a bunch of fucking kids out there that I fathered for that moment, but apparently it's genetic. So yeah, unfortunately, it's considered a curse. I don't know why this happens, but every full moon I can't control myself and it grows and I have to lock myself in my study or else things happen. Let's just say that. No one is, listen, that's when every hole is a goal and no one is safe. I have to hide.
Okay, so today I learned aware puta is a thing. This is valuable information to take down.
Yeah. Very, very, yes. Where fooders are a thing, and now you are more knowledgeable for the fact. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, anyway, let's jump back into it with the second burning question, which is, what can you tell me about your parents? I mean, despite the fact that you never really knew your mom and you never, well, you kind of knew your dad, but not to the same extent as a father, more about them. But wouldn't that
Hmm.
make you perhaps the heir to their kingdoms?
Well, yes. And this is why I am now the Archwizard. I've taken over. So if you're unfamiliar with how
Ah.
Archwizards are formed, there's two processes. The first one being is that you have to basically carve yourself an enclave. It's a huge floating castle, and you must have a phylactery, and it's like a huge magical sphere where you absorb your magic. You have to be like strong, 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 as in your craft. Now you don't have to be a necromancer, it could be any, subclass of
Mhm.
magic user, but as an archwizard, you are like of he said Gandalf.
Yes.
Yeah, he is one. He would be considered one. Someone with great magical prowess. Now, the second way you can do this is by killing an arch wizard, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly hard because they are so strong. And there's a very particular way in which you have to kill one. And well, this does feed back in and circle back into your question. I killed my father. Him.
Ah,
Yeah, with good cause though. With good cause. With good cause.
you
You
killed
see,
your father to take his place as the leader of, yeah, the lead the
I, I
okay.
didn't I didn't kill him to be the leader. You see, my mother when she passed, um, I didn't know very much about her because he didn't. It pained him to have conversations about her. What I
Mm-hmm,
did know is that I saw paintings of them,
mm-hmm.
murals on the wall, and I saw that she was a lovely lady. From what I can see in her eyes, she was very gentle. And I heard stories from the servants about her nature. And it seemed that they were very much in love, which is nice. It was my father, my mother, and three others. It's very common to have a group of about 5 to 6 adventurers in a band and adventuring together. And they were quite famous, to be honest. They were platinum ranked adventurers. And when they retired, my mother and father decided that they would settle down, marry, and then I was the result. Now, you see, my father did hold a lot of contempt towards me. He blamed me for my mother's passing. Um, and so he and I had a very rocky relationship. He did show some interest in me when I started my magical, well, I would say like my journey quite young. I was a bit of a prodigy, but he quickly dismissed me when he realized I couldn't read. And so he became an alcoholic. He drank a lot. He drank a lot, and me and him could never see eye to eye. It was basically I could never do anything that would please him or make him proud. And so, like I mentioned, I spent a lot of times being raised by others. He was very engrossed in work, but from what I am told is that um he was before all this a strange man, I would say, very to himself. He's very good looking. I will say that. I can see why he caught my mother's eye. And, he wasn't a ladies' man. He was very much a very, like, true romantic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Really loved my mother and, didn't want to remarry or anything like that. So I could commend him for that, at the very least. He did pass on some good genes. I think after I had graduated, I had hoped that perhaps through my learning process that he would, I don't know, recognize my accomplishments, but that never truly happened. And, well, he attacked me and I reacted. And it resulted with him dying.
Oh, so it was more
and
of a self-defense thing then, and not
it
an China
was.
assassination thing. Okay.
No. In
Okay.
fact, I would not want to be Archwizard. It's quite the responsibility. It took me some years, but I've grown into the role.
Could you potentially
Hmm.
just abdicate the role if it doesn't match you?
Someone would have to take it from me. And I won't let them do that so easily.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
With all that being said, did you have perhaps any how should I say this? Any servant that who has raised yours, or at least a servant that you had growing up that is someone who you could consider your favorite, or somebody that is more active in your life, I suppose.
Well, she has since passed, but I would say my mother figure, as I made mention, was a lovely werebear. Her name was Veronica, and she was very lovely. She was about, oh, almost 9 feet tall, so she was quite a deal bigger than I was. But she was
Okay.
incredibly gentle and sweet and caring, and wasn't afraid to tell me, Siri, that's not very nice. Siri, be kind. Siri, don't strangle the boys. Yeah. She was, I would say that would be my mother figure. She was very sweet. She did pass some years ago. Unfortunately, werebears don't live very long. Not as long as, well,
Amazonians.
yeah. I have some question about certain things. I know my father was a half elf, but I don't think he was half elf, half human. Like I said, I tried looking into it. Like, it doesn't make sense. I shouldn't. My abilities, let's just say, aren't typical for a necromancer. Let's just say that. It
Yeah, I
makes
see.
me question things.
Well, I suppose everyone's origins is just different. That I mean, it's that the answers are the way to get answers just varies a bit much for like some of us.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like, I don't know, so maybe I don't need to know. I haven't known this all this time, so why does it matter? Why does it matter?
You are just the person you are, and your history doesn't define you. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people who I've met, and they don't seem like the type that their history is attached to. I've met some people who look like they've been like probably like
Mhm.
the son of a CEO, and you find out that it's that they work their ass off to become to become that to give off that view, I mean.
Yes, yes. I take great pride as a guild mother, and I'm also part of the guild council, which is nice. It definitely gives me some perks, and I really fallen into that role, I would say. I really enjoy it. I take care and I help, future adventurers on their endeavors, their skills. No, I quite enjoy the role. I very rarely. God damn it. God damn, I'm so fucking. Sometimes being old means your body just like wants to break down. I don't think I would like get another form. I think I like the form that I'm in, but like there is this nasty business in necromancy in which, your body starts falling apart and you're like, well, time to become a lich. Yeah,
Soul
I think
transfer.
yeah, we'll transfer over. No, I enjoy what I do. I've made friends and family. I can say that now, which is like I would say that I call them affectionately my guild babies are my family, and I'm a very protective mother. Let's say that.
Well, that's actually great to hear. But there's this thing that's been bugging me. I just realized. Considering that your mom was an Amazonian, this
Mhm.
means that she wasn't like you were in that you were raised outside of Amazonian culture. She was like a full-fledged Amazonian, correct?
Yes, yes. She is a pure blood. She comes from royal Amazonian blood. Now, it's not uncommon for princesses, she was a princess,
Mhm.
to make what's called a pilgrimage. And basically, it gives an Amazonian. And I mean, it really differs between some of these groups. Some of them are like, ew, never leave like your family. You stay there and you just like, raid and you breed with men and then you kill the male children. Yeah, that's like, not all of them are like that. And some of them are like, they actually do have reasonable relationships or contracts with certain villages. And
Mhm.
so, like, it's a whole ceremony where, like, they send some of their men, they breed, and it's like nice. And then, like, if they need protecting, the Amazonians will like protect their. And almost, now that I think about it, almost like their livestock, their dick stock, their breeding stock.
That
But
is, yeah. I think breeding stock is probably the best way of turning it. But dick stock, though.
it can be stocky. I'm
Oh
just
my
saying.
lord. Okay, that is definitely one way to word it, uh, but I want to like bring up your mother because since your mother was part of a Amazonian culture, does this mean that she engaged with multiple partners or like has had previous relationships with other creatures? Because that would imply that you potentially have siblings.
I that is something that I never thought about. I think when she joined the adventurers group, she must have been late 20s. Yeah,
That's
late
old enough to
20s.
bear children.
Yeah, that's
That's
definitely.
way
I
old enough.
think
Oh yeah, that's definitely old enough to bear children.
I probably do have siblings out there, and I just don't know it. From what I was told, I think my father was her first and only mate. It was she left for the pilgrimage and decided that part of her pilgrimage was to join this adventurer band, and she stayed a bit longer and caught the eye of my dad and vice versa. So from what I understand, it was a very monogamous relationship. But
Okay,
who's
that
to
okay that
say
that
that?
part I get, yeah. But
Hmm,
because of like how time shifts the memories of people and how they
hmm.
like to view people more favorably after years or through memories, that could also mean that they just don't remember, or at least they have an idealized version of your mother. So it is still like probably is a very good chance that you do have an older sibling, either a older brother or older sister somewhere out there that's half whatever. Like could
And
be
I will kill
half.
them. I mean, I will love them. There could only be one. Um, no, you do. I never really thought about it that way. I think I've been so used to being alone that maybe the thought of having other family out there was just a very foreign concept to me. But now that you've said this and made mention of it, it makes sense. She was old enough to definitely do the breeding ceremony. Yeah, I think they started at 18, actually. It really depends. But yeah, I might have to do some searching. I might. I never actually went back to my mother's family, even after she passed. Yeah, I never
I
thought to do that.
I can actually relate to that. I never bothered like going to my home, going back to my ancestral place.
Mm,
I just feel like it's not really my thing, I suppose. I mean, it's kind of cool, but when you go there, you're like, now what?
Yeah, yeah. Now that I think about it, it's like I never. Well, I wouldn't have known. I never heard stories from the servants saying that. I would imagine they would have heard news of my mother's passing. No one came to mourn her on her side. There is a large oak tree outside of my house, and its leaves are of amber color, similar to my eyes. I have my mother's eyes. And there is a shrine to my mother in which I visit, and my father used to visit quite frequently. And I would family come to mourn her loss? No, never. So I just figured they didn't care. Yeah.
That would be interesting to find out though, because there have also been plenty of cases where some family members got excommunicated at certain points in their lives.
I would have to inquire further. I would say that it's a possibility because from what I realize is that the pilgrimage only is supposed to be a year or two, and she was in my father's adventuring group for about 6 years. So I think it's a possibility that she was excommunicated because she did not return to fulfill her duties.
Or they just straight up thought she died, because that can also happen.
Yes. There's times that you are sent out on the pilgrimage and death happens and you just never return, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure she had other siblings. So I might have aunts out there and
aunts,
a grandmother.
Aunts, uncles, cousins. I mean, surely you have plenty of cousins.
Many. Oh yeah, definitely. I probably have like a shit ton of cousins. It would be interesting to see them. But I've mostly kind of stayed on the island of Sirio, and well, for the better part of a millennia, just, running my guild quietly and staying to myself. I don't adventure anymore, so there's really no need for me to leave. I'm kind of like, I just stay on the premises of my estate. And that's pretty much it. Every now and again, you get an invader that comes in, you gotta wreck their shit. Tell them, you bitch, get the fuck out.
I don't know why, but my brain just immediately shifts to have you seen the anime Konosuba?
No.
Oh, okay. And anyway, they released a movie, and the movie was about this village of just high-level wizards. An invader an army of invaders came, and they just rocked their shit with just a bunch of spells. It was great.
I like that. No. I like that. Hold on. I was gifted a tiny little furry creature. It is called a doge, a doge, and I'm gonna train her to be my apprentice, a little dog mage.
That sounds adorable. I definitely look forward to the progress of this young apprentice.
Yes. She's very tiny, so I have to make sure I don't step on her. I think I should tie a bell around her. She's, she likes nibbling on my feet. She's very cute.
I've seen some cases where people tie balloons to their pets.
I think I might need to make one. I should craft one and put it around her. She's very she likes, for some reason, just hiding right out of view behind my foot, and all I hear is and I'm like, oh, sorry.
You just hear a squish.
It's like, I have to say she's pretty strong, because I've stepped on her a little bit, and she's really robust. So she has some maybe some Amazonian dog blood in her. Who knows?
Tiny but durable. Just the way we like it, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that kind of way.
What's the next question?
I mean, to be fair, you are an Amazonian, so I feel like everything's tiny to you.
Yeah, it's very rarely do I come across someone who is of my size or larger. And it's always a pleasant surprise because then I'm no longer the biggest person in the room. Yeah, it's nice.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, I haven't met anyone that big that wasn't a dragon.
You know, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But living on an island where it's a lot of beast people, you do get people of like various sizes. Like I said, the bear folk, they tend to be on the larger side. I've even seen them go up to 10 feet tall, depending on, I guess, their breeding. And it's mostly the males. Who else would I say is quite big? Lichens can be big. Not
as big. I assume they're not as big as bears, though.
No. I would say 6'6", and sometimes maybe larger.
I can see that.
Yeah. Trying to think. Any other types? Very rarely do I meet someone who's larger than me. Now there are draconian people, and they vary depending on, I guess, their. So there's two types. You have ones that can turn into a full-fledged dragon, and then you have types that their blood is so muddied that they're eternally in a form of like a hybrid form of dragon and human. And they're not very tall, surprisingly. The human side does take over after a couple, I guess, of generations. And so they tend to range very human heights. You do sometimes, demigods can be tall. I've met a couple demigods, and they're usually about my height. Sometimes a little shorter, sometimes a little taller, really depending. But I wouldn't say that they would go beyond 7 foot tall. No.
I'm just like waiting on the comments of the podcast of people who are measuring not from their heads to their feet, but from their head to their tail. That's cheating.
Hey, that's cheating. Don't be a filthy cheater.
I am 11 feet tall because my tail is freaking like 6 feet. That is not cool.
That's not fair. That's like you're a long motherfucker. You're a long bitch. The fuck?
You have a long tail. You're not tall.
I mean, I wear heels, so like I'm taller than 7 foot tall in my heels.
How tall are your heels? You're already a tall person. How tall do you need to be?
Well, I like to stay stylish, Yeah. I'm styling and profiling, and I can fight in these heels quite well. They're like a 5 foot heel. They're nothing crazy, but it definitely adds to my height.
Wait, sorry. How many foot heel?
It's a 5 inch.
5 inch. Okay.
Yeah,
that is a lot. I'm just imagining well, for one, of course, you're an Amazonian, so I'm assuming that your body proportions are a lot bigger. So I'm gonna give a generous estimate to say that your foot size is about like 16 from heel to toe, which is to say that if you kick somebody, the length of how much will just penetrate to someone's body is astronomical compared if it's a human. If it's a human, it's like, what, half an inch? If it's your size, you're just gonna impale a motherfucker.
I could just wear their bodies as slippers. Yeah, that's right. I'll rearrange your insides. Oh, well, sorry.
This just takes a foot fetish to a whole new fucking level. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. I've definitely met some. That's a really interesting. Did you know that fetishes are genetic?
Oh, I heard about this. Yes.
So if you like feet, mommy or daddy likes feet too.
Now that's a question. Is it mommy or is it?
I guess you have to be like, hey, burning question, mommy, daddy, who likes sucking toes?
Oh my lord.
Yeah. So if you have any weird kinks, don't feel ostracized because one of your parents gave you that kink.
Okay, let's potentially one of your parents gave you that kink, but that also means that if they don't have it, it might be other parent. If the other parent does have it, either they're lying or it skipped a generation and your grandparents were kinky as fuck.
Listen, Gam Gam and Pop Pop were fucking. Those motherfuckers had 10 kids. That's normal. Yeah, back in my day, we had 9 children or 16 children. Half of them died. Those are the ones that survived. Well, fuck.
I was gonna die to
Listen.
dysentery. Oh my lord.
Yes.
It's that thing about how if you grew up, you were the strongest of your. If you grew up, you were strong because you survived childhood.
Exactly. You were definitely the best of your litter. You know, Runts didn't make it. That's kind of grim when you think about it. It's like, damn. And you know, these women, they did it without no like medicine. Just like
Oh, true.
just-
Yes.
yeah,
No medicine, no
I'd be
painkillers, of
scared.
course. Jeez. That sounds terrifying.
Oh, it is. That definitely. Yeah. I mean, I know Amazons tend to do it, and there is a tonic in which it makes the birthing process a bit more durable, and it's like a hut on a mat, and you just bite down on a stick, and you that's nice. That's nice. It's
Yeah, the
I-
best painkiller is a piece of wood.
yeah, that just bite in your mouth. Wait, I'm the stick. The stick.
Yes, the
The
stick.
stick. Oh god, no! I'm the branch, the bark.
That
Not
thing.
that type of stick.
Well, anyway,
The-
let's move on to the next question.
Mm.
As an heir to the throne, well, I suppose that you're already on the throne now. How do you capitalize this? Like, seeing as that you are now essentially the leader of your nation, and also the guild mother, and also the archwizard. What exactly do you do? Like that to
Mm.
like as a job, what exactly do you do on most days?
You know, most days, I've had to recently get into politics, which I don't care for.
Mhm.
I usually just tell people to fuck off and suck my dick from the back, and if they don't like it, try me. And that usually does the job. But every now and again, somebody fucks around and they find out. And depending on how much they fuck around is how much they find out. You know, it's mostly training. So my island, Sirio, we protect a large populace of beast people. They were displaced during a natural disaster to their island, in which a volcanic eruption basically capsized their island and they had nowhere to go. The main city, the main capital, did not want to take them on, and so we became their natural protectors. And so now it's been a really interesting integration of their people mixing in. It's kind of like, think of a pirate town. It's surrounded by water, and so our main trade is like, you know, selling goods to other nations and other nations coming to trade with us, and I guess intermingling with the populace. So you're seeing a lot more of a variation. But you know, I employ a lot of them here at the Skelly Club, and it's been great. They do all like the manicuring of the lawn and sweeping, mopping, and some of them want to become adventurers, and so I do take them on. And it's been very rewarding. I've really enjoyed it. I can't say that I would flourish in any other occupation besides being a guild matron. I really do enjoy my job. It's very fulfilling.
Okay. So you're mostly setting in a managerial role, I suppose, just managing the things happening inside the Skelly Club.
Yeah, you know, finances. I mean, money is good. Never have to really worry about that. I have a sizable inheritance, and I'm not frugal, but I'm sensible in the ways of spending coin, and I've made a lot during my years as an adventurer. So it's, you know, managing, training as well. So sparring happens. And, we have a good, life plan here. So if, say, you die on a mission, a generous amount of money is sent to your surviving family. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually really impressed that you guys have healthcare.
Yeah, well, wait. What kind of uncouth beast do you think I am? They would be in my employ and no health care? What do you think this is, the US? They're fucked. Those people over there are fucked.
Oh, that's fucking great. Oh my lord. Yeah, sounds about right, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is quite impressive. I recall like several other kingdoms that eventually integrated healthcare, but that's great that you guys really had it like starting off.
Yeah, I think about these things, as being, I think being adventurer prior to me taking over helped because I saw that some other guilds that you would join, it was basically you died and that was it. That was all.
That was the risk, yeah.
That was the risk, and it's very like high risk, high reward. And I would often see families crying, bereaved, and nothing to show for it. And I said to myself, that would never be me. That would never be me if I was in charge. So I implemented a package in which if you do join my guild, that you do have a place to stay. I have many rooms. My guild has very many amenities. We have a canteen in which you can eat. We have a vast library, training grounds. You have dorm rooms and yes, healthcare. So if something does happen, like an insurance policy, if something does happen to you, we do leave money to your widower or family or whoever survives you. So that way, it eases the pain a little bit. Yeah. Makes the medicine go
imagine
down.
You guys should have a really, really good insurance, what's it called? Insurance fraud agency.
I'm looking to employ, there is a detective that I've come into recent contact. His name is Omni. And he has a very... Oh, you silence puppy! She's doing her spells and incantations. Her first spell is tearing the head off of the duck. It's she's yeah. that's
definitely her Amazonian side just showing.
Yeah. I definitely feel like she's definitely an Amazonian dog. Yeah, very much so. She's showing great promise, but yeah, no, I a lot of the money that that is brought into the island via trade, I have some of it allotted to the sole purpose of insurance policies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. People really definitely need that. But regardless, you are currently the leader of the college. So just to be clear, I want to question about that, which is the Adventurers College of the Dawning Blade. You should also find a way to shorten that because, geez, that's a mouthful. I'm not quite
that's
sure.
The English translation.
Oh Lord, I'm not quite
tongue.
sure I've heard of this college, but you've expressed that this college is explicitly for adventurers. Now,
yes.
This being a college, I have to ask. Do you guys engage in college football?
Oh, the round ball that you kick around?
Yes, or in some places, an egg that's also called a football. I don't get it.
An egg?
Yeah, it's a ball that's not really a sphere. It's an egg that people throw around.
What kind of sick fuck throws around an egg?
I don't know.
There is a sport in which you kick around like a sphere, but you can also use your head and you can't use your hands. You can use your elbows, your head, your knees, and your feet. I guess it's something similar, maybe, perhaps.
I feel like the way this sports is constructed was either by or to fight against Lamia.
Lamias. Lamias. Yeah, no.
We're in the same boat when it comes to that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Lamias are very, very lovely creatures. They're
Quite.
lovely and long and strong and what were you saying again?
Is it true that Lamias have two penises? At least the male kinds. I keep being told that. I'm not sure about it.
Not that I know, totally don't know by experience, but yes, and some of them could be hermaphrodites.
I didn't know that part.
I read it in
Okay.
a book. I read that in a book.
Fair. Still though, college football with only Lamias would be either a really fun match or a really boring one.
I would like to see it. I would like to see some sweaty lamias slithering across the fields for purely scientific reasons. Purely scientific.
For
no
pure
other-
for just academic purposes, as how many people like to use online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you ever smelled a lamia? Have you smelt one before?
I haven't gotten in contact with any Lamias lately, but I have gone in contact with plenty of reptilian people, though. I suppose they're close enough, at least in scent-wise.
Yeah, kind of. The lamias have a particular scent. They have a very it's sweet. It's sweet and earthy. That's what I read.
Well, I should really
somewhere.
read more into this, because on my bucket list is still on the top of my bucket list is still to be wrapped in a Lamia's coils. That's still number one on my list.
I hear the experience is really pleasant. It's like a hug everywhere, and their body vibrates too sometimes when they're excited, and it's warm. And it's wet.
Is it warm though?
That's what I read. Oh, yeah. They're cold-blooded. Totally. I read that somewhere. I've totally read this.
Yes, you've been doing a lot of reading, haven't you?
Yeah, lots of reading, lots of stuff. I have to learn about the world somehow.
Fair enough. Okay, I have to ask now, because you haven't really touched up much on it, but you were once in the college where you now currently work at, so I want to ask, during your time at the college, what do you reckon was your favorite class?
Oh, now this is funny enough, there is a small class where they teach you life skills. And it's of course, if you're going to be an adventurer, you got to learn the basics, like fixing wounds, because maybe your healer is unable to, or ran out of arcana and they can't cast anymore. So you got to learn life skills, like cooking. I really love cooking. You learn how to make basic nutritious meals, like how to hunt or grow or whatever it is, because sometimes if you're very important, you'd be surprised how many times adventurers starve to death. That was a thing that happened. People just didn't know how to put a decent meal together. They would cut open whatever animal, and knowing what animals to eat, that is very important, because some of them are poisonous and some herbs are poisonous to you. So you do get like a crash course on like generic like survival skills on, eating and creating shelters and like medic type stuff. And I think my favorite thing was actually cooking. I love cooking.
I'd like to actually pick your brain on another time about like the different recipes you learned, because I enjoy cooking also. It's the best.
Okay. Question, do you like spicy food?
Mildly spicy, but yes.
Oh, no. You see, I like that sweet burn where it's like
You mean actual
tasteful.
spice, like death bell pepper spice?
Yes, like I do like hot foods. Oh, I do. I really like hot foods, but it has to be tasty. Like burn me, but it is a pleasant burn going down.
For the record, chat, we are still talking about food, okay?
Oh. Hey, what? Come here. I have wrangled the dog. Come to me,
Going
hound.
berserk? Learning a new spell about going berserk?
Yeah, she is learning her berserker skills. She has maybe had too much of the tonic. You know more, puppy. Stop ravishing the poor duck. It's already dead. She's so sweet. No, I love food. I would figured as a fire elemental, you would like hot.
Yeah,
No?
that's a very like big misconception that I've noticed a lot of people make.
Oh.
But okay, the way to explain this is we are resistant to heat, right? But that doesn't
Yes.
mean we like it.
Let me write this down. Does not like spicy. A fable. A lie. Oh, okay. I'm learning too.
To be fair though, I have to admit, like I'm only into like mildly spicy stuff, but I really love like, I think the one thing that I've been cooking like a lot is definitely Japanese styled spicy curry.
Katsu curry.
Yep, yeah, pretty much. But oh my lord, the price of meat nowadays.
Yeah, I did notice that an insurgence of like cost for just common ingredients has gone up quite a bit. So I tend to what's great is that the island of Sirio has really good agriculture.
Mhm.
We eat a lot of seafood because we're an island,
Sure.
and so we enjoy fresh fish and prawns and octopus, mussels, and
Oh
it's
my lord, I
especially
would like to
good.
taste octopus.
Oh, it's so good.
I've only tasted octopus in the form of octopus balls. I keep forgetting like what the English term for it is, but yeah.
Takoyaki?
Yeah, there it is. Yes, takoyaki. That's the only way I've tasted it.
Oh, I honestly like a nice grilled octopus with just a little bit of
Oh,
oil
my
and
lord.
lemon, salt and pepper, and that smoky flavor from the grill. It's divine.
That sounds fucking amazing.
Yes, yummy.
But I think still the probably okay. A couple months ago now. Damn, that's been a while. We had a guest named Thorntail. Rest in peace, by the way. They told me that they eat literally everything from their own kind, humans, goblins, orcs, and they did like even give me like this whole scaling thing that was kind of funny, I gotta admit. So I'm just like wondering, I suppose on their side meat is cheaper?
I mean, I guess that's being resourceful. I would imagine that it's spurned from a time of need and want, and that it just became a cultural thing. You could imagine sometimes warring nations, one of the best ways to basically defeat an enemy is to starve them out. And
Sure.
it's actually quite cruel if you think about it. And so
Definitely.
they do turn on their own for eating purposes and nourishment, because hunger is a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing to see one being hungry. So, I mean, maybe maybe they're just disgusting freaks that like the consumption, eating of other beings. There are those that are just like nefarious and just evil aligned. And that's another thing. People think I'm an evil person because I'm a necromancer, and
Why is it always
I'm
a
like-
thing?
Yeah.
Necromancer equals evil.
when that became the staple, necromancer equals evil. Like, I'm not a lich. I feel like liches have more like, they become corrupt. There's a corruption that happens in them. Now, very rarely there are some good liches, but more often than not, I would say the older the lich is, the more corruption feeds into them. And they become to get this like mind rot. Yeah. And then they become like, depraved, crazy creatures. But yeah, necromancers, like, technically, if you think about it, necromancers are like, in a way, yeah.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. Necromancers are what?
I was saying that necromancers, if you really want to think about it, are like mages, like clerics. They're like,
Oh yeah,
they're basically,
definitely.
yeah, like we can fix and repair things on your body that you'd probably lose, bring you
Yeah.
back.
I've been given a description that necromancers are just priestesses or light mages who are late.
I like that
that's
one.
our explanation to me.
No, I like that. That's a good one. I might have to borrow that. No. That's
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, the skeletons, they're harmless. They're nice.
I
They're
cast
good drinking
healing.
bunnies.
I already died. Okay.
Like, well, better late than never.
But that
I
being
like
said, though, that actually is kind of curious because, I've heard of many light mages who have mastered the spell resurrection. At that point, aren't they already necromancers though? At that point,
I think what it is that it delves deeper into it. That is one facet of it. But as a necromancer, you do have sway over poison and necrotic stuff, so you could actually
okay,
inflict,
fair, yeah,
rot on somebody, or which is very unpleasant. Let me tell you, you're dying, your insides start melting. Yeah, really
I
bad
can only
way to
imagine.
go. Yeah, and like resurrecting, like, we do have power over all undead. That didn't, you'd be surprised that in my adventures that I've come across quite a bit of vampires, and they're always shocked when I have domain over them. I'm like, you do realize you're undead, right? And that's like my whole thing. Necromancer, undead.
So you're
yeah.
saying that you can dom the undead?
Yeah, no, we do have power, sway over the undead. It's very hard for an undead person to not obey us, basically. Yeah. Ghouls,
Have you
skeletons.
do you know the work of an artist named Balbuddy?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, yeah. So you know about the story of the necromancer name. What's her name again? Lucy, was it?
Yes.
Oh my lord, that I saw her childhood story and my heart just went my heart. I love it.
No, that artist. Oh yes, that artist in particular. One day I will commission something from them.
Let's
my goal.
go! I can't wait to see that.
Yes.
But to give some context to the viewers, Balbuddy is a remarkably good sketch artist. Like, all of the stuff they make is based around sketches. That's her style, but also absolutely fantastic memes. But one of their most popular works is about a necromancer girl. To give the highlights of of this thing that I just love so much is there was this one the first that was like supposed to be her origin comics, right? The origin comics for like Lucy, is that she became a necromancer because she didn't have any friends. And she just wanted to like revive the dead people. And that just broke my heart.
You know, that's actually a thing, especially when you come into the power of necromancy at a young age. The first things I summoned were skeletons. And they were quite pleasant, good conversationalists, surprisingly. And
Oh,
they can
that's
tell you,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah, you have to imagine, not many kids wanted to play with me. I didn't really have a grasp over my strength. So, you know, they'd
Let's
be
play
like,
tag.
hey, kick the ball. And I would kick it and their head would fall off. Oh, I murdered that other kid. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, my bad. That was an accident.
Yeah, so I stayed by myself for a while.
I
did-
see. Like growing up alone must have been like difficult. I mean, of course, it's nice to have like supportive family, but it still doesn't replace the the friendships that you could have gained.
Yeah, but I say I was a late bloomer because now I have a great many friends. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I suppose that's just a thing that some people just need to like grow out of. I'm hoping that that kids aren't watching this right now, but if you are, you'll eventually make friends.
Yeah, on your own time.
They're out there waiting for you.
Exactly. You just have to. That's your own adventure.
Oh, yeah.
The adventure of friendship.
As cheesy as it sounds, that is true. The adventure of friendship. With all that being said, your class, you've learned like a great deal from your college, but after you left, can you tell us like something about your adventure life? Was it like what you thought would be? Like all the stories that are being shared everywhere?
The colleges do a great job of preparing you, and this is why it is very much encouraged
that's a
that
rarity.
anybody, yes, you should go to a college. It does prepare you for many of the nuances that, revolve around being an adventurer. And so when you're going and doing certain things, they kind of prepare you for almost every scenario. And I do mean every scenario. Because that is a thing that can happen, adventuring as a female, especially if you go into like a brood of goblins. Goblins are, yeah, okay,
yeah. I can see where this is going.
Yeah, oof. I won't go into any more detail than that, but that is a thing that can very much happen. And I mean, like, there are broods and, of whatever gender. And you have to be prepared for any scenario. And so, like I said, it does a great job of preparing you for what you would expect. Now, of course, not everything is going to be by the books, but at least you have some understanding on, you can apply a great many things.
Like a base concept. I'm assuming.
Yes, very much so. I would say so. This is why I always advertise and say like, hey, are you an adventurer? You should go to a college. It will prepare you because there are some nasty surprises out there. Coming across certain breeds of people that, shapeshifters, how to spot a shapeshifter, especially if you don't have somebody in your party that, might have heightened sense or have a certain magical skill. These are all things that it's very important to learn. Yeah. So I'm glad that I went to. Now, the reason why people don't really know my college in particular is because it's more for highborns. So
okay, it's okay, I see that. So I'm assuming that there has been a change in policy now, at least.
Now, I mean, I understand the history behind it, and it's something I respect. Now, there is a great many. The kingdom of Vitrauen is known for its colleges, so I mean, there is one to fit every budget. Let's put it that
Ah,
way.
okay.
Yes.
Just
And
to be
there are
clear,
some,
the
yeah.
college and the guild, are they separate entities or are they part of the same institution?
So the colleges, it's like your schooling, and then the guilds are your job placements.
Ah, okay, okay. That makes more sense.
So depending on like if you're perhaps that when you went to college, you were skilled in the art of espionage. So you would go to the Guild of Shadows, right? Where you would
Hmm.
basically be in the company of other people who have particular skills. So it could be like torture or like honey potting or honey dicking. I didn't realize that was a thing. You could be a honey dick. It's the male version of a honeypot.
Yeah, I think that is the term for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't get it either.
I don't. But yeah, a thief or like, a lot of rogues tend to go there. So it's, it really depends. Now, people will assume like, yes, my college does specialize in what I like to call dark arts. So it's not just specifically necromancy, it could be blood magic, which I don't know why people are so afraid of it, but yeah, blood magic and the eldritch variety of magics
Oh, funny
as
enough, we
well.
actually got a Eldritch VTuber not that long ago. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So I do know about that as well. It's very interesting. And yeah, no, like they have baneful magic, like cursing type magic, so shaman type stuff. So my college does specify like you don't have to necessarily be proficient in it. We can teach you it. My guild specifically is
Hmm.
geared around the retrieval and protection of endangered species.
Okay. That's that
Hmm.
is that is an interesting way. I haven't heard of any guilds that did such a thing. I've heard of plenty of guilds that's either specialize in heists, assassinations,
Mm.
and bodyguarding. But those are like basically the three core ones. I haven't heard one of protections in terms of endangered animals. So does this mean that you actually have a wide range of species?
Yes. To be honest, the surface area of my castle or estate is one part. Beneath it, it is a network, a huge, very large network of just like you could think of it like its own underground city. And it houses and protects a great many species. Yeah, that's our goal. You see, I realized being a person who practices magic or the arcana, um, a lot of the spells and potions and elixirs uses the rare body parts of a lot of these species. Hearts, horns, gallbladders, tongues, eyes. And,
That
it
is
does
interesting,
fetch.
actually.
Yeah, there's a horrible black market, and it's not very well regulated. And so you'll see that species will literally go extinct from over like
Overhunting.
farming. Yeah, and hunting. Yeah, yeah, it's really bad. So, I will go and seek out certain, I'll listen to things or people will tell me stories of a rare beast that's elusive. Now, very rarely do I have to put these creatures down. You have to imagine that they do become aggressive because they do get hunted, and sometimes they're the last of their kind and they go mad from loneliness. It's a really terrible way to go. So if I can't bring them back with me in a gentle way, in a kind way, I will have to put them down. And yes, I do use the parts that, I make sure nothing goes to waste, but I make sure to study it. And so that way, that if it is a species that is about on the brink of extinction, study it. I do study it and I preserve, certain parts because yes, I do need it for, certain rituals and spells, but no, I don't hunt these creatures for sport. I protect them.
I would really like to visit this place one day and do some of my own research on these beasts because This sounds like quite an interesting collection you have.
Oh, I would be honored to have you here. Yeah, I would love to have you at the Skelly Club, and I would give you a grand tour. It's, I would show you some of the species that, and some of them are humanoid. They can actually converse. They're not all feral.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And I mean, yeah. Very lovely. Very,
Can
very
you
lovely.
give us an example of one of these beasts, like somebody who's probably your favorite, perhaps?
Well, one of my oldest and fondest is actually a golden dragon.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. You'd be surprised that a lot of dragons are actually dying out, either from lack of a mate. A lot of them mate for life, so they will have one partner, and if the partner dies, they just never go out and find anyone else to repopulate with, and so their species dwindles down. So finding dragons, especially metallic dragons, it's very hard. And so this dragon in particular does have the capabilities of a humanoid form and a draconic form, and where they're kind of a hybrid, and then they also have another form in which they are a very large dragon. That's not a form they take very often, but they've taught me a great many things. They're very skilled in the arts of magic, so I've learned good spells from them.
This is interesting because, oh my lord, I just realized something.
What?
Do you know are you aware of the dragon living on Terra named Jin Mari?
No.
Because I interviewed her not too long ago, and I just realized something interesting. They killed all of their metallic dragons who invaded their home. It was
That
actually
does happen.
a really big part about how she was built up. So potentially this is a very big potentially one of those dragons escaped, somehow ended up in your world because they are known to possess dimensional shifting.
So she
This
is
dragon
the
might be
one.
a survivor.
I might have to pay this individual a visit. Yes. Very interesting that you brought this to me. I don't believe in coincidences. I might have to inquire further on this topic.
Okay, this is fascinating. I am not liable for any actions of the guests after they have been on the podcast. So everyone, yes.
Oh, am I doing scary eyes?
Don't worry about
Sorry,
it.
happens sometimes.
This was quite fascinating though. So this golden dragon of yours, they've taught you spells and they've like helped you understand more of their species. It is quite interesting, like seeing in how there are some dimensional shifting, I suppose is the proper term.
Yes,
Going
and that
on.
is, you can do that via a scrying mirror. It's like a transmutation mirror, and you can actually go to different multiverses through it. I do possess one. They are quite rare. And I would, I feel comfortable saying it because no one has, like I said, fucked around, found out, and lived. So, yeah, I possess one of those mirrors, which allows me to very quickly travel to different dimensions and rescue beings from different dimensions. So yes, now that you've mentioned it, my friend, I will not mention their name out of safety, but never quite told me what happened. I do know that they were quite badly injured, and were living alone for quite some time when I found them, and on the verge of madness, because like I said, being alone for thousands of years, it does something to the mind when you have no one to converse with. But with love and care, they eventually came around and were able to use words and talk with me, and explain a great many things, but I clearly saw that talking too much about what happened pained them quite a bit. But I do know that dragons tend to be their own natural predator, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. It's similar to humans, I suppose.
Yes, humans are a curious breed. Very curious. They like killing themselves quite a bit. I don't understand it.
They
I don't know why they can't get along.
Yeah, that to be fair though, going through the histories of many of these guests,
Mm.
it's unfortunate that they're not alone in that regard. People generally have gotten really good at learning how to kill each other in the most efficient ways possible.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I don't know how to visit a delicious amount of violence on somebody and the methodologies of breaking bodies and minds. That's even better. Oh,
Mind
the
breaking,
mind
nice.
breaking. Yeah, I did go through like a small course on torture
Hmm.
in my college years. It's a good skill to know, like how to pull the fingernails out of somebody's. I mean, no,
I
no.
just assume you just use pliers.
I mean, or you could have very strong little grippies like I do. Like I said, I'm very strong.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, pluck them like a chicken. Ah, yeah, are you all right?
No, don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you know what? Let's continue the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually we received two more burning question guest fact redeems by the savory chicken, funny enough.
Oh, savory chicken sounds familiar.
It should sound familiar because she's one of your daughters.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Hi, Chicky.
So could
And
you
what
give us
are these
another
questions?
facts about yourself? Two facts actually.
Okay, 2 facts about myself. All right. Let's see. A fact about me. Let's see.
Actually,
Oh.
let's go with a interesting fact, which is could you explain like the origin of your brooch? Actually, your iconic brooch.
This. Thank you for asking. This is one of the many crests of House Siri. Now, I did change it a bit.
Mhm.
It was obviously the cross and bones pays homage to necromancers.
Mhm.
And we did have another like addition to it. But seeing as when my father had his untimely death, I decided to change it. I am a fighter and a lover. I think that's what it represents. And yeah. I may be a necromancer, but I'm very loving. I love. I have a big heart. I'd say that, yeah. Yeah,
That's good to know. Seeing
Yeah.
as you have like you have really seriously taken care of many of your what's the proper term here? Your subjects, I suppose. Your subjects, your colleagues, and of course the people under your guild.
Yeah. And I do take the role of a guild matron very seriously. I mean, I'm like a parent to them in many ways, and in some fashions or facets. I really am like their mother. A lot of them sometimes come from dire circumstances, perhaps cast out, perhaps they're, orphaned. And when I take them under my wing, they do treat me like as if I am their mother, and so I take that role with a great deal of respect.
Okay, that's good to know. I suppose we can consider That would be the first guest fact. What would be the second one?
The second guest fact would be what's something that not many people know about me. Oh, I have a dungeon. I have a well,
What type
yeah,
of dungeon?
oh, it's the best kind. It's the
Elaborate.
sec.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm assuming
And
it's not the one next to the area where you keep all of the rare animals, though. Unless it might be like right next to it.
no. This one is in the upper quarters, and
Ah.
I have a small harem. What?
Your
Well,
harem or
You're surprised that I have a harem? Come on.
no? I'm concerned. Like you are. I mean, I kind of expected the harem part, but judging by the definitions of harem, what kinds of people are we talking here? Like, could you describe the harem?
It's a reverse harem in which I have many air quotation wives, and it doesn't matter what gen you are, you become my wife.
Ah.
Yeah.
Fair. That is a good point. That is a really good point, actually.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, reverse harem, and it's lovely. I take care of them. They're well pampered, well fed, and well fucked.
I'm surprised you had to like emphasize well fed. I mean, I'd
You know-
assume so. If they're gonna take the role of a harem, they should be well fed. They need energy.
You know how many times people just forget to feed? That does happen. That is a
True.
thing. Yeah. They need nourishment. Hmm.
That actually makes a lot more sense thinking about it now.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
sometimes I forget to feed myself.
how many are we talking here? How many people are part of this harem?
Oh, let me see. Presently, we have about 10 people. I'm very selective.
10 people
You know.
so far.
Yeah. It's, and there's room for more. I have a big
Exactly.
heart. Look how big. I have a big heart to go with my big body, my big, strong body.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on is actually does actually do relate to that. Well, kinda is seeing as how you are a guild maiden. Is it everything as it's cracked up to? Is it anything that it's cracked out to be? Like, is it like how you'd expect it to be? And have you also used necromancy in this case, where you've had to revive a dead adventurer?
Great questions. And so I can easily answer that. If you don't have a good grasp on your life, like if you don't have like good bearings on your own life, how are you going to run a guild? Because you basically have the lives of hundreds of people under your employ. So you need to have like your shit squared away quite well. So, I'd like to say that like, yeah, I have all my like sensibilities and facets about me. I'm, I run a tight ship, and, I don't lose a lot of people. And I have had to, a few times, revive people. Now, this is what people don't understand, is that they assume that if I revive you, you are now like my slave, basically. Like
Yeah.
my thrall. Now, if I get to you before you really like, and it would have to be like a minute or two, like, of your heart being stopped. If I can revive you, you'll be fine, and you will not be indentured to me. Now, if you've been dead for some time and I'm really having to bring you back, then yes, you will be my thrall. But yeah, I'm pretty quick about it. I'm pretty quick.
I'm
So-
trying to like, okay, theoretically, there is also a lot of people who are, what is the proper term? I think the best term to describe this is definitely indebted to, but they're indebted to by by right, I suppose. You saved my life, therefore you're indebted to me. If someone dies and they become indebted to you because of the necromancy, that's just a different part of it.
Yeah, it's just a product of it. I can't really control that. But I'm kind. I'm not going to abuse them in any way. They live here and enjoy like everything. And
I mean,
I
of course, you're
usually
not
use
gonna
them as
abuse them unless they like it.
well, yeah. There's that. Yeah. We can talk more about that. That's a very fond subject for me. Oh yes. No, but I take care if there's some upkeep because their body does start to rot and eventually they do turn to a skeleton. Yeah. They're just a
That
walking
being said,
pile
how
of
many
bones.
skeletons do you have now?
Well, let's just say during Halloween, it's
Oh,
free
look at the time.
decorations.
It's coming up.
I know, right?
Oh my god, that's a lot of that's a lot. I'm just imagining like okay. How long have you been at this? Like, being a guildmate. I mean, like, have you been at it for like decades now?
I kind of lost count after 1,000 years.
Okay,
I've been
so
around for a while. Yeah.
it's already exceeded like your father's time, I'm assuming.
I know Amazons can live to be about a couple hundred years old, like 800, I think is the max.
And then you also have
Elves-
elf blood, yeah.
Yeah, the elf blood helps a lot. They could live for a couple thousand, but if I have to really think about it, realistically, I might be approaching 3 to 4,000 years old. More than that, somewhere around that ballpark. Which, like I said, I have questions about like my father's like lineage. I know elf, but I was
What's the
always
other
under
one?
assumption. What's the other one? Because I know it's definitely not human. They don't live very long. They live very short, tiny lives.
I mean,
So,
I'm just gonna fucking throw this out there, but we have the same eyes, and my thing isn't like special, so I'm assuming
oh,
demon.
oh, that would, that would make some sense. That would make you see, because necromancers they do make pacts. That is not
Exactly.
especially if they want to become stronger. That. Wait. Hold 1 second.
We're figuring out like
second.
so much this episode.
1 second.
You okay down there?
Yeah. Things are starting to make. Dear God, that's what happened. That's what. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. What did? Dear God. Wait. I'm in. My grandfather's an infernal?
It's not necessarily your grandfather. Because if your
I'm trying
grandma's
to-
infernal and your granddad is a kinky motherfucker.
I will say this. Yes, my attack Amazon
They're
hound.
kind of getting that, yeah.
Come here. She listen, I told you to stop drinking the mead. Stop drinking the mead. She's drunk. She's drunk on power. On tiny puppy power. So you remember I made mention of this one particular curse, the werefuda thing?
Sure.
Well, there's another layer to that. I was on one mission with my adventurer group, and well, we had to fight demons. And one of the demons seemed quite interested, like very like pushy, like, hey, we should mix our blood. And I was like, I don't fucking know you, dude. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to kill you. Why do you want to knock boots?
Sounds
And he
like
was
my dad.
very insistent. Yeah, very insistent, saying that our blood should mix. And now that I think about it, why was I able to understand what the fuck he was saying?
Ding.
Oh, God. Well, let's just say this. I did not take to his advances, and he felt quite spurned and decided that he was going to put... Are you familiar with the Lilith's curse?
Sounds like something that I should have probably remembered from my history spell class, but no.
All right. I will regale you with the history on this. Lilith, mother of demons, as you know, can birth pretty much all types and forms of demons from her womb. A Lilith's curse has something similar to that. So, if you bear the Lilith's curse, doesn't matter what race your partner is, it's kind of like a guessing game of what comes out of you. Let's just put it that way.
Ah. Okay,
Yeah.
I think I can see where this is going. That makes some sense.
Yeah, so that could be really frustrating because, like, say you and your partner, you're like, oh, I love you, kissy, kissy, all that,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
That happens. and then you're like, 9 months later, something comes out and you're like, doesn't look like the dad. And
That's concerning.
yeah. So that's pretty much why my children all look weird. Well, not weird, but they look different. Let's just put it that way.
Funny enough, that's actually the second to the last question, which is actually the next one.
Yes, go ahead. What?
Well, we might as well just bring up the question. So,
Yeah.
how do you? Okay, since you probably explained it, whatever. How do you have children with no father and they are all hybrids?
Well, I'm not gonna say that there's So, yeah. Remember I told you about that one
Yeah.
Fuda thing? Well,
Yeah.
you see, it seems like the curse runs in the blood. So, like, if I'm aware Fuda and I happen upon a female who is, ovulating, right?
Yeah.
The different things can come out. Yeah, it works that way too. It works that way too. So, I mean, I could be a mother and a father. I could be a mother and a father.
What do you mean
Oh,
could be?
God.
You are.
I'm not trying to pay child support.
That's a lot of child support. If you're okay, let's just roll back just a bit.
Okay.
Seeing as you have such a high libido, obviously,
Yeah.
you probably got that from your mom, who probably did something similar to what you're doing right now. Therefore, your children have aunts and uncles, you have cousins and probably nephews and nieces. You have you have just a bunch of like siblings that you just have to like discover throughout, who potentially, well, probably not, because we don't know much about your dad's life before your mom, potentially aren't half demon, at least. That's right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. Because of the nature of the curse, it would be, I have a chicken cockatrice, I have a dragon, I have an elf, I have a celestial gem. The one person
You gave birth to a rock. Okay.
Well, yeah, kind of. In a way, I mean, they are humanoid in appearance, but essentially like a cosmic gem, like a cosmic gem. I think the only one that I would say that I know, I definitely knowingly slept with was Lucifer. Don't. It was a one-time thing. It was Yeah,
This is
yeah,
really this is just really strange implications. But I can see where this is going though.
yeah. It was just like, I was young. I I don't know. I just went through a phase, and that happened. And then my child recently found me. She is a cosmic space demon creature who's been living, in the multiverses. That's where she's been living. I strangle her often. I mean, I love her and I take her for Happy Meals.
Cosmic space demon. Who is this?
Her name is Dreamy Nova.
Okay, I was thinking of the dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what, like 5? I count
Yeah,
5.
five that I know of. That's the
That you
ones
know?
that have found me. Like I said, there was times in my life, like when I first started the Where Fuda thing,
Sure.
I didn't have any, like, I couldn't control it, and I had no memory.
Actually, that actually brings up a good point. Do you assume that any of your children, did you do it with their mothers or their fathers?
Well, well, I mean, one, I know there's the father. There is couple of them have been mothers. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
Okay, so I gotta ask like at least one more question about this before we move on to the last question. Well, eventually, which is Lucifer, male or female?
Yes. Well,
Did they take it or did you take it? Where we headed here?
well, I have to say it was a bit of both. It was a fun evening. I was plied
Nice.
with fine wines, and so it was nice to be able. A lot of things you really you really made sense of a lot of different things, and would make sense to like certain latent abilities that I have, and tolerances. Like I like the heat. Heat is I can't be burned by fire. That's a
Oh, so I reckon that you're part of the higher demon class then, because I am a fire demon, where I'm technically part of the lower demon class, so I can still get burned, but I'm just
Really?
I'm just better fighting against it than I suppose humans or other elementals.
I now need to dig more deeper into like my family history, because I don't
You
think I
need
really
to
put
revive your dad with necromancy and ask him some fucking questions.
that was one thing that I never done. Like, if someone says never bring me back, I don't bring them back. I'm very respectful of it. Now, he died by my hands, and he never said that I couldn't, but now, payback's a bitch. And so am I.
Oh, that I think you should get on the shirt. Payback's a bitch and so am I.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. To be fair though, I'm just thinking about this, like, what were his last words? Oh, I slit his throat. His last words were,
The girl. I actually beheaded him.
Ah, okay, so yeah, he couldn't say the fucking "don't bring me back."
Yeah, it was pretty much, slice, a very quick slice. It was very, I have to say it was done very humanely. It was quick. It was a quick death, and he just slumped into the rest of the body just slumped into my arms, and then he just vanished. Yeah, just poof, no body,
Oh.
just poof.
You slapped the head, I'm assuming.
The head actually, well, it's a bit morbid, but it's not uncommon for us to keep the skulls of our family members, and it's very well encased and displayed, and it has a little plaque by it, and so that I could very well use that to revive him and ask some questions.
That That's actually not the worst thing I've seen. I've seen somebody encase the skull of their father in a bowling ball.
In a bowling ball? What the
Yeah.
hell?
Their dad was a bowler. They were a bowler. He died. So fuck it.
I mean, that sure is creative. Did that person like their parent?
They loved their parent and they want to keep them close whenever they did bowling.
Okay, question.
That's-
Devil's advocate here. When they stick the fingers in, is that incest? I mean, come on. I couldn't be the other one thinking that. Come on.
Okay, if you stick your finger up your brother's nose, is that incest?
No.
Okay, then that. If you stick something else in, that's incest.
Oh God. Oh God. No. Okay. Fair enough.
This is a weird fucking way to end the podcast, but we have one more question though.
Sure.
Okay, this is the last question that I'm pretty sure I kind of know what the answer is to anyway, but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Yes.
So, considering all of your adventures, all the things that you've done, your bloodline, your entire family life, I have to ask someone. I have to ask you. Have you ever executed someone using death by snooze snooze, seeing that you're an Amazonian?
Oh, yes, of course. That is actually an honorable way to die. People think it a punishment, but think about it. You get fucked so hard and that you die in a rapturous orgasm by your lover. I think it's very romantic, actually. Don't you?
I suppose, yeah. I could definitely see that. I
Yeah,
suppose
no.
it also counts that it's not necessarily from one person, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the mate isn't, like I said, you want to try and choose a mate that can endure the process. But if they cannot, it is a lovely way to go. One final hurrah, right? And then you're gone.
Agreed.
I mean, a bit of pain, the crushing of the bones. It could be, but it's quick. It's quick. So yeah.
Fair. I definitely like. That's definitely that's the way I'd like to go. Death by Snooze by Alamia.
Oh yeah, I dated a Lamia. They're
Male or
they're
female?
lovely.
Or
Oh,
hermaphroditic.
she was hermaphrodite. Yeah, hermaphrodite.
Ah. There you go.
Yeah, well, she had to continue on with her race and breed. It was, before she was to be betrothed, so it was a summer fling. It was lovely, though. I remember her fondly. I am the godmother to her kids now,
Ah.
presently. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Well, I suppose that's just the one that slithered away.
Yeah, that's the one that definitely slithered away out of my heart and out of my loins. I mean,
Okay, anyway, everyone, this has been Burning Questions with the Necro Siri. Do you have any parting words for the audience regarding anything? Anything, actually.
Yes, I would like to say one thing. I can see your browser history, you nasty, nasty creatures.
Perfect! Oh, this has been great. Did you enjoy your time on Burning Questions, Siri?
Oh, this was certainly a pleasure. And, I have a burning question for you.
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
When am I getting grandkids?
What?
Yeah! She is my eldest child. You think I wasn't going to inquire? Listen.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Chicken, did you put her up to this?
No, she seems very happy or very lovely. Now you know even more about me.
Oh my lord. Okay, at least I know some family history. On the bright side, there I have a very good view now of all of your children, their history. Oh, did I forget to mention that there's actually a fairly good chance that one of your children, the dragon, Ja, is actually an eldritch being.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised. She does have a certain aura about her. You get to learn to read specific auras of magical beings, and hers is quite beautiful. It's very cosmic in nature, which would allude to that. Yes, she's a dragon, but
Along the lines of, she also does not like express what her actual name is. She cannot show her actual power because it might destroy the universe. And she also has a form that she never shows people because of how maddening it looks. That kind of checks out all three boxes of an eldritch being.
Yeah, but I respect her privacy. She hasn't revealed certain things. I'm not going to pry. I would like over time for her to reveal these things to me, but I would not be surprised. She's lovely, though. A very small dragon. Okay, I'm letting you know she's very small. She fits in my pocket.
I mean, I suppose all your children fit in your pocket nowadays. We got a chicken who can definitely fit anywhere.
Oh, this was lovely. Thank you.
But yeah, everyone, this was really fun. I'm so glad that people nominated you to come on Burning Questions. This was amazing. This is actually the second to the last episode, and starting season 2 in a few weeks, I'll start accepting people to come back on to have even more burning questions.
And I'll be sure to tune in. Yes.
And you might actually show up on another future episode, but that's then. Definitely, we'll be getting some fan favorites to come back on to burning questions for a part 2 or part 3. I'm assuming with Augustus's case, because that guy's history is extensive.
Yeah. Something about demigods, they're an interesting bunch. Always have some sordid fucking history. He's not bad, though. I would like to crush him between my thighs one of these days. Yeah.
Wait, give me a second. I just realized something. I don't not to bring it back to Ja, but I just realized something.
Yes.
Let's see. Dragon, magical powers. Did you fuck the golden dragon?
This interview it was great. Thank you for having me here. Mwah. I love you all. Oh, what's that? They're calling me at the matron. Oh yes, it's me. They're calling me.
Okay. Okay, you better make contact. You better call the matron, and I'll be ending this stream. So anyway, everyone who showed up, I hope you enjoyed this burning questions. Next week we are actually going to complete the triumvirate of I suppose plague doctor nuns, with the last of the triumvirate being Sister Ileana. So we started off with Dr. Heavy, then we moved on to Gwen Mara, and now to finish season 1 of Burning Questions, we have Sister Ileana. So be sure to tune in this Saturday for that episode. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode, this long-awaited episode of Burning Questions with Necro Siri. So anyway, everyone, I hope you had a great day. But bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Have a good one. Thank you for having me once again.